Welcome back, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Hearts. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why it is so important for us to speak the same language as our body. We've all been in a room where another language is being spoken, and sometimes it can literally sound like a bunch of gibberish, or if you are multilingual, you can understand a little bit of the dialect and of the root words. But we try to be nosy at times to see what's going on. And even if you've gathered in nothing from the other language being spoken, that is a very similar example of what it's like when our body is trying to communicate with us and yet we are totally ignoring it. Or maybe we have never learned to listen to our bodies or to understand what our bodies are trying to say to us. When we don't know what our bodies are trying to tell us, that is similar to the fact that a person can be at the wrong place at the wrong time. For example, you get 8 hours of sleep and you get up the next day, start your morning, get to work, have not even finished your first hour there, and you're exhausted and you have no idea why. You see, we live in an era where living disconnected from our bodies has become so normal that we don't even know what thoughts actually come from us, or we don't identify what thoughts come from us. I don't think we talk enough about the disconnection that sometimes we have from our bodies, and yet we have this meat suit that we take everywhere. And you can literally see sometimes in your physical body things that it's trying to tell you. For example, if you have someone that is allergic to gluten and their response from their body is it breaks out or they have to use the restroom a lot, that is a way that their body is speaking to them. But what about the ways that our thoughts represent outcomes within our body? Like how stress impacts us, how stress can create just higher cortisol levels or increase the heart rate and increase blood pressure. And then you think that you're going to need to be on a medication for the rest of your life for high blood pressure. I love the healthcare community at times, but I wish we would address more than just symptoms, but I wish we would address the root of things. And once again, it begins by us listening to our bodies and becoming aware of the things that not only are contributing to stress, but also the ways that we can prevent stress in our lives. Don't get me wrong, I totally understand life happens. I work in healthcare and I recognize when I start to activate myself and being in survival mode. You're rushing instrumentation to the OR, or you're rushing because you know that it's no longer about you, that patient is on the table, things of that nature. I understand that many of us have different stressors in our lives, but there are also ways to come back from that and to regulate your body. And I definitely encourage everyone to recognize when you are activated in that survival mode. Because the first time that you begin to realize that you have been activated in that survival mode, that is the first part of actually returning home to yourself and recognizing that you don't have to be in that stress mode all the time, that you can leave situations at work, or leave situations at home, so on and so forth. Despite this, what is it, 50K to 70K thoughts in our minds, and over half of them sometimes are negative. That should tell us an indication of how as a society that we can work together to be a ripple effect on becoming a more positive individual and seeing the change that we want to create within the radius of where we are at. So think about it. Where are your thoughts being formed from? Are these thoughts being formed by something we've seen on social media, people around us, or worst of all, the news? When we don't speak the same language as our bodies, we can become deaf to our intuition. What does that mean? Well, if your intuition is speaking through your body to go to a specific coffee shop on a random Wednesday morning and you're out of touch to listen to your gut in the first place, because if it's being blocked by other things that we've been listening to, then you might miss out on an opportunity. You see, our bodies not only protect us physically, but our bodies protect us in so many countless ways as well. How many times does your nervous system have to tell you a specific person isn't good for you before you finally listen? Whatever your answer to that question is, that is how fluent you are to the language your body is speaking to you. Isn't this phenomenal? How we have this beautiful, intricate way of knowing that if something is for us, or the way we can avoid sickness or disease. They say that 75 to 90% of physical illness stems from stress. Now, there is unavoidable stress and there is some stress that we can avoid. How does it look like or feel like when our body is speaking to us to avoid stress? Well, let's start off by being more present. Oh my goodness, that means we're going to have to be a little bit more present when we interact with others and actually hear what they're saying. When we begin to look at people as more than people and we begin to look at them as energy, you'll realize who you want to not only surround yourself with, but who you want to be and how you want to be, because we also emulate a specific type of energy as well. And being present is definitely a habit that we can all get into. And just like a muscle, it definitely can be trained and it can be exercised. My son at times gets in a tizzy because I don't allow electronics during meal times. I want us to be present. I want us to truly interact with each other and talk about things so we can actually know each other. Oh, and if I may add, when you begin to be present during conversations you have with others, you can decipher a lot faster if the person is going to drain you. So you're not stuck wondering why, despite getting proper rest, you're feeling tired and drained, or if you've had 2 coffees, you feel tired and drained. I remember in the past when I was working at this job that was truly draining me, I would have sometimes 12 to 16 shots of espresso and yet still be in my bed and wanting to go to sleep at like 8:30. I would be fighting for my life to not fall asleep. And that is such insanity to think that I had this habit of wanting to mask the way that people were draining me, and I was allowing this because it takes two to tango, and masking it with caffeine. Then I would go home from that job to a negative partner at the time, a partner that was so insecure that the negativity would then get projected to the relationship. And guess what? That brought me drained Jessica. That was what I was presenting to the world. And since I was allowing this and I was playing a part in this, that was what my reality was mirroring to me. Then, before I came to the realization what the issue was, I would literally tell myself things to make this high caffeine consumption okay. I would even tell myself things like, well, at least I'm not drinking energy drinks with synthetic ingredients. And that's how we can all be. It doesn't have to be with caffeine, it doesn't have to be with a substance, it can even be in a simple way of thinking, a patterned way of being. We can make excuses, and our ego can blind us to things that eventually can destroy us through stress, or that can destroy us by allowing that stress to accumulate to health problems. Thank goodness for change. I made the proper changes, not only with who I surrounded myself with, but also within me as well. I remember that I would tell myself, I should be able to handle this. Am I forcing something that isn't true to me? And this was like shining a light on things that I had to change, attitudes within my mindsets, to understand why I was even attracting situations of gossip, betrayal, and even being in a controlling dynamic. When I began to become more present, I felt like a light bulb moment. I felt like it got flipped on between my body and my mind to start working together for me and not against me. Sometimes when we feel so out of control, we truly feel like everything and everyone, including ourselves, is against us. But it doesn't have to be that way. And if that's your reality right now, don't worry. You're literally just having a human experience. The best part about it is that it doesn't have to last like that forever. And we all have this ability. Isn't it wonderful that the answer to avoiding many problems can be addressed by simply being receptive to the language of our body, of what it's telling us? The graceful part about the healing journey is that we're always able to go out on our own pace. We're able to take the test over and over. There was no rush. And I feel like even though we may have different things in common with other people on the healing journey, nobody is exactly at the same like place or pace that we are at, because we all have had different backgrounds, different definitions of love, because we all grew up differently. Even a sibling, you can be a twin and yet have totally different personalities and perceive different things. So as primal as we are all still different. And for example, what I mean by primal is, you might notice that you don't feel safe around someone, and that could come up in your body as your shoulders getting tensed from that primal instinct to protect your spine. Just as an animal would protect its spine, or would protect itself out in the wild, we too have different things in different ways that our body does that for us. Or not feeling safe to speak your truth can sometimes result in tension of the jaw. Pay attention to how your body is trying to speak to you. It might just save your life. When you listen to your body that first time, it might feel a little foreign to you. I can pick up on some Latin-based languages. I don't understand how to speak Portuguese fluently to go live in those places, but I'm able to put together when I'm eavesdropping on certain languages. That's kind of what it's like when you first begin to listen to your body signals. The more you begin to get to know yourself, the more confident you will begin to get in that language per se. Not only that, but you'll begin to develop a sense of trust with yourself. That can also be an aid to you for your nervous system regulation. I mean, we can all benefit from that, right? Then from there, you can decipher why your body is telling you what. Is it them? Or is it something in you that is coming up? Not to rise up like tides of an ocean, always to return to different ranges. Different things come up within us that can trigger us, but don't look at it as a bad thing or as an annoyance. Look at it as an opportunity. See, that's where the mind shift is. Looking at it as an opportunity for things to be revealed to you. Needless to say, when you begin to speak the same language as your body, you can't lose either, because you would be dodging a bullet on an unpleasant situation, or you'll be knocking at the door of your heart for some healing. Like always, think about what you're thinking about and to know that there are resources out there to help us all learn about ourselves. So I'm just going to end this episode on just speaking a couple truths over us. Let's see here. There's no losing in life. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And this one makes me think of that one quote by Walter Anderson, where it says, "Our lives improve only when we take chances. And the first and most difficult risk we can take is to be honest with ourselves." It's okay to take time for yourself and to take time away from the world when you are able to. And it is okay to listen to what comes up for you, no matter how uncomfortable that it can be. Just know that by you not choosing to escape, you are already ahead of the game. You are already turning the clock backwards on something that could have gone way worse, or something that could have impacted your whole legacy. Just remember, this healing journey, it's a lifelong thing, but it's also not just about us when we choose ourselves. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but yeah, when you choose yourself, you are also choosing others, choosing to help others, I should say, choosing to impact others in a better manner. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If this helped you, pass it along to somebody.